A 10-year-old girl has always kept her mother from entering her room. When her mother finally discovers that her daughter is hiding something there, Sonia is horrified to see her daughter, Christina, closing the door more quickly and frequently. Sonia has always been a devoted and loving mother, paying attention to every detail of her daughter's life. However, in recent weeks, Christina has begun to act strangely. Every time Sonia approaches the room, she closes the door quickly as if she is hiding something. The change in Christina's behavior makes Sonia extremely worried. Why is my daughter avoiding me, she thinks, feeling a knot in her stomach. Sonia's mind is spinning with questions and uncertainty that is starting to eat away at her peace. The next morning, as Sonia is preparing coffee, she sees Christina leave the room with tense shoulders and a distant look in her eyes. "Good morning, honey," Sonia said, trying to sound as casual as possible. Christina just mumbled a quick reply and turned away. Sonia felt sad as she noticed the growing distance between them. "Christina, are you okay? You seem nervous," she tried to ask, but Christina just shrugged and continued packing her school bag. Sonia sighed, feeling frustrated. It was as if an invisible barrier had been closed between them and Sonia didn't know how to break it. Sonia decided to wait until Christina left for school before trying to figure out what was going on. When she heard the door close, she went to her daughter's room. It was locked, and that only added to her worries. "Why did you lock the door?" she wondered, feeling fear tighten in her chest. She tried turning the knob again, as if waiting for the door to open somehow. When that didn't happen, Sonia backed off, determined to find a way to resolve the situation without invading Christina's privacy. Later that afternoon, when Christina got home from school, Sonia decided to try a different approach. "Honey, is there anything you want to tell me?" she asked in a gentle voice, trying not to sound accusatory. Christina paused for a moment, her eyes shining with something Sonia couldn't identify. "No, Mom, I'm fine," she replied quickly, almost in a desperate tone. Sonia watched her daughter run into her room and shut the door again. Sonia's concern only grew, and she knew she needed to find out what was going on. At dinner time, Sonia tried to talk to Christina again. "You know you can trust me, right? I'm here to help you, no matter what," she said, trying to keep her voice calm. Christina looked at her mother for a moment, her eyes filling with tears, but she just stood up and went back to her room, closing the door behind her. That night, Sonia couldn't sleep. Lying in bed, her mind was filled with terrifying visions of what Christina might be hiding. Is she in danger? Is someone hurting her? The questions kept her from resting. She stood up and walked down the hallway, stopping in front of Christina's door. "What are you hiding from me, my daughter?" she whispered, feeling tears roll down her face. Worry and love for her daughter consumed her, and she knew she had to act soon. Sonia tried to sleep, but she was still brooding, remembering the time when her husband was alive. He had been the only support that had kept their family together since his death, leaving Sonia to shoulder all the responsibilities alone. She had always loved Christina, but losing her husband had made her suffer more. "I need to be strong for my daughter," Sonia thought as she made her daughter's bed. Memories of happy times together flooded her mind. And she wondered how things had changed so drastically in such a short time. Working long hours at the hospital, always caring for others, Sonia had only wanted to protect her daughter. Sonia thought about the sleepless nights worrying about the future, about her fear of failing as a mother, and the growing distance between her and Christina only added to that fear. She remembered what Christina had been like before her father died, a happy girl who always smiled and shared everything with her mother. Since the loss, they had both been struggling to find a new balance. Sonia knew she needed to be patient, but she couldn't ignore the signs. She looked at the photo of her late husband on the bedside table. "I just want the best for you, Christina," she whispered, running her fingers across the frame. The pain of loss and concern for her daughter mixed together inside her, and she knew she had to find a way to protect Christina and find out what was going on, no matter what it cost her. The next morning, Christina woke up early to go to school. Sonia got up and made breakfast in the kitchen. Christina walked into the kitchen with her head down and her shoulders slumped, hunched over as if carrying an invisible weight. "Good morning, Mother," Christina said, trying to sound cheerful, but her voice sounded weak and lifeless, showing the tiredness in her eyes. "Good morning, honey, you're asleep. Are you okay?" Sonia asked, trying to hide the worry in her voice. Christina just nodded, grabbed a piece of bread, and quickly left the kitchen. Sonia watched her daughter walk away with her heart in her throat. "What's wrong, my daughter?" she thought, feeling Christina helplessly walk to school with slow steps, each step heavier than the last. At school, Christina is a shy and reserved girl. Classmates used to play and talk animatedly, but Christina stayed away, immersed in her own thoughts. She remembers the happy days, what happened with her father before he passed away. They often walked through the park and he always made her laugh with his funny stories. Those were so strange times. Christina thought, holding back the tears that threatened to fall. Dad left a void in her heart that she didn't know how to fill. In class, Christina sat in the back row as always. She looked at the teacher, but her mind wandered. "Dad always said I was strong," she thought, trying to find comfort in the memory. "But how can I be strong without you here?" The teacher's words echoed in the background, but Christina couldn't concentrate, her mind wandering in search of refuge. During recess, Christina isolates herself in the schoolyard, where she finds some peace. Hugging her knees, "Why does everything have to change?" she wondered, looking up at the sky. The other girls played and laughed around her. But she felt like an outsider, disconnected from that world. "I wish Daddy was here," she thought, a tear rolling down her face. The pain of loss was deep and persistent, a cruel reminder that her life would never be the same again. Christina tries to concentrate on her studies, but every page seems to bring back more memories of her father. He always helps her with her homework, making everything easier and more fun. Everything seemed so hard now, she thought, flipping through the book without reading it, the words blending together, creating a mess in her mind. She felt a surge of desperation, an urgent need to escape this painful reality. After class, Christina returned home but avoided her mother. Sonia noticed her daughter's distant expression, but didn't want to push her. "How was school, Christina?" she asked, trying to start a conversation. "Everything's fine, Mom," Christina replied without looking her in the eye. Sonia felt a lump in her heart, but she respected her daughter's space. "If you need anything, I'll be here," Sonia said, trying to show support. Christina just nodded and quickly returned to her room. Sonia watched her daughter walk away and felt the distance between them growing ever wider. In her room, Christina closed the door and lay down on the bed. She stared at the ceiling, feeling emotionally drained. Will Mom ever understand the secret I keep in my heart? She felt sad and disappointed at the same time. Christina stood up and looked under the bed. The mere thought of what was hiding there gave her a sense of comfort and anxiety at the same time. "This will help me hold on," she thought, looking at what was hiding under the bed. This was her way of coping with the pain, something that made her feel connected to her father, even if only mentally. Christina's loneliness is deep, but she has found a way to feel a little better, even if no one knows it. The secret she hides in her room is her comfort, a small relief amidst the whirlwind of emotions she faces every day. If only Mom could understand, she thought, knowing that revealing what she was hiding could change everything, but the fear of being judged kept her from speaking. The pain could go away, but she knew she needed it. One day, as night fell, Christina lay in bed with a photo of her father in her hand. Silent tears ran down her face as she remembered the happy times they spent together. "I just want to help," she thought, wishing she could find a way to ease the pain she felt. The distance between her and her mother symbolizes her internal struggle to keep her father's memory alive and find comfort amidst the darkness. The next day, Christina went to school as usual. Sonia watched her daughter leave through the front door, her mind filled with worry and determination. "I need to know what's going on," she thought. Sonia decided it was time to uncover the secret Christina was hiding. Sonia went upstairs, stopping in front of Christina's door. She tried to turn the handle, but the door was locked. She felt a wave of frustration and anxiety. "Why are you hiding something from me?" she muttered. Sonia knew that forcing her way in was an invasion of privacy, but her need to protect her daughter outweighed any hesitation. She looked around and saw a screwdriver on a nearby table. "This must be a trick," she told herself, grabbing the object with trembling hands. Sonia inserted the screwdriver into the keyhole, trying to unlock it. There was resistance at first, but with a little more force, the lock gave way with a click. The sound of a lock being broken echoed down the hallway, and Sonia held her breath in fear of what she might find on the other side. The door slowly opened, revealing Christina's room. The first thing Sonia noticed was the strong, unpleasant smell coming from the room. Her expression changed from concern to shock. "Is there something rotten inside?" she muttered, cautiously stepping in. The smell was unbearable and Sonia covered her nose with her hand, trying to get used to it. She looked around and everything seemed normal at first, but something under the bed caught her attention. Slowly bending down and lifting the covers, Sonia was horrified to see several street cats hiding under Christina's bed, some seriously ill, others malnourished. Feeling shock run through her body. "Oh my God," Sonia cried out, taking a step back at the sight of the cats in such a precarious state. The sight left her speechless, both horrified and pitiful. She approached the cats carefully. Her heart pounding. "Christina, what have you done?" she whispered, her eyes filling with tears as she began to examine each cat. Sonia felt both proud and sad. She admired her daughter's kindness, but at the same time, the condition of the cats broke her heart. They were vulnerable and in need of help. Sonia knew she had to act quickly. She picked up the phone and called the nearest veterinary clinic. "I need help urgently. I found some street cats in my daughter's room, and many of them were sick and malnourished," she explained in a trembling voice. The veterinary clinic staff assured her that they would send someone immediately. Sonia looked at the cats and said, "I will take care of you. I promise." She tried to convey calmness to the animals while she waited for help to arrive. Meanwhile, Sonia began cleaning the room, trying to create a more comfortable environment for the cats. "How could I hide this from my mother?" she thought, her mind still reeling. The image of Christina, small and fragile, caring for all those cats by herself filled her with emotion, a mixture of pride and sadness. "My daughter is so brave, but also so lonely," she mused, feeling the pain of losing her husband more acute than ever. Finally, the team from the veterinary clinic arrived and began examining the cats. Sonia stood watching with a sinking heart as the veterinarians assessed the animals' health. "Take them to the clinic and get them taken care of," a veterinarian told Sonia in a sympathetic tone. Feeling a little relieved, Sonia replied, "Please take good care of them," her voice still trembling. The veterinarians began loading the cats into the rescue van. Once all the cats were gone, Christina's room seemed emptier and sadder than ever. The thought that her daughter was secretly caring for those cats tormented her. She knew she needed to talk to Christina and understand her daughter's motives better, but she also knew that the conversation would not be easy. Sonia wiped away her tears and began to clean up her room, preparing for the upcoming conversation with Christina. She wanted to make sure her daughter knew that she was not alone and that she could always count on her mother. "I will do everything I can to make you feel safe and loved," Sonia thought, feeling her love and concern for Christina. It was this that motivated her to keep going despite the shock and sadness. When Christina arrived home and ran upstairs, excited to see her kittens, she realized that the lock on her door was broken. Mom made her come in. She felt a pit in her stomach as she opened the door and saw that the room was clean, with no trace of the cats she had loved so much. She screamed in despair. Sonia appeared at the door with a worried expression on her face. Christina started to speak but was interrupted by an outburst of anger. "What did Mom do?" Christina screamed, tears streaming down her face. Sonia saw her daughter, a 10-year-old girl, explode in pain, in stark contrast to the usual excitement at that age. "Christina, please listen to me," Sonia pleaded, trying to remain calm. "I don't know what's going on. I should have helped you take care of the cats. I don't understand." Christina screamed, her voice full of emotion, "You'll never understand." Sonia felt a shock in her heart as she saw the pain in her daughter's eyes. "Tell me, my daughter, I want to understand," she said patiently. "Tell me everything you feel." Christina looked at her mother in anger and despair. "Mom will never understand," she screamed before turning around and running out of the room. Sonia tried to run after Christina, but she was faster. "Christina! Come back here!" Sonia screamed, trying to catch up with her daughter, but Christina had already disappeared through the front door and ran into the street. Sonia stopped on the sidewalk, panting and desperately calling out Christina's name, but there was no sign of her. With her heart racing, Sonia ran through the streets of the neighborhood, imagining all the possible scenarios in her mind. "Where are you, my daughter?" she murmured, her eyes filling with tears as she ran across the street. Sonia's phone rang. She looked at the screen and saw that it was a call from the veterinary clinic. "Hi," she replied in a shaky voice. "I'm Joaquin, the owner of the veterinary clinic. We need to talk," he said in a serious tone. "One of the cats you brought was very weak and passed away." Sonia felt a wave of sadness and guilt wash over her. "Oh my God," she murmured, tears streaming down her face. "I hurt her." Joaquin was silent for a moment and then asked, "Sonia, what's wrong?" Sonia took a deep breath and began to explain, "The cats belong to my daughter. She's been secretly taking care of them in her room. I found out today and she ran away when she saw I brought the cats." Her voice trailed off as she continued, "Now she's gone missing. I don't know what to do." Joaquin listened intently and then said, "Sonia, describe the girl to me and I'll help you find her." Sonia felt a little relieved when she heard that. "Christina is 10 years old, light brown hair, big brown eyes, wearing a red jacket and jeans." Joaquin wrote a description and promised to help find the girl. Sonia kept running, her eyes scanning the streets for any sign of Christina. "Please God, help me find my daughter," she thought desperately as guilt and fear took hold of her. "I shouldn't have touched her things without saying first." She felt pain thinking about how the cat's death would be a devastating blow to Christina, and her concern for her daughter's mental health caused her further anguish, as Sonia ran through the streets. She couldn't help but think about the changes that had happened since her husband died. "Things have become so hard for all of us," she thought, tears falling again. "I just want to protect her, but I seem to be failing every step of the way." Passing by every face she saw, Sonia still hoped to find Christina. "Where are you, my daughter?" she repeated in her head, her suffering growing more and more with each passing minute. Sonia stopped at a nearby park, panting with her heart in her throat. She asked everyone she met if they had seen a girl matching Christina's description. "Please help me find my daughter," she pleaded in a voice filled with desperation. Everyone looked at her with sympathetic eyes. But no one saw Christina. She told herself that she couldn't give up, even as hope began to dwindle. Sonia's phone rang again. It was Joaquin. "Sonia, we're searching here but we haven't found anything yet." "Don't give up, we'll keep looking," he said, trying to comfort Sonia. She thanked him and hung up, feeling a little stronger. "I will find her," she promised herself, continuing to search the park and surrounding streets. Love and the need to protect her daughter drove Sonia on, even as fatigue began to take over. Sonia felt the exhaustion trying to overwhelm her, but she was determined not to let that happen. With tears in her eyes, she looked up at the sky and whispered a prayer. "Please, God, bring Christina to me." She knew she needed to be strong, not just for herself but for her daughter as well. "Together we will get through this," she thought, determined to find Christina and resolve the remaining fears and worries. Sonia's unconditional love for Christina is stronger than any obstacle. He won't stop until he finds his daughter and makes sure she's safe and loved. Meanwhile, Joaquin drove through the streets paying attention to every corner he knew. Finding Christina was important and Sonia's description was still fresh in his mind. After a few minutes of intense searching, he saw a familiar figure sitting on the sidewalk, hugging a kitten. Joaquin immediately recognized her as Christina. The sad look on the little girl's face left Joaquin heartbroken. He approached, keeping his voice soft so as not to scare her. "Hi Christina, I want to help you," he said, trying to reassure her. Christina looked up in surprise at hearing her name, her eyes red from crying. "Do you know my name?" she asked, her voice shaking with emotion. Joaquin knelt beside her, keeping a respectful distance. "Your mother, Sonia, told me about you. She said you were very kind and that you liked taking care of stray cats. The kittens you took care of are now in my clinic," he explained, hoping to gain her trust. Christina hugged the kitten tighter, feeling relief and doubt at the same time. "Are they really okay?" she asked, searching Joaquin's gaze for sincerity with her eyes. He nodded firmly and smiled softly. "They are taking very good care of them. I see that you are taking care of another kitten and I want to help you take it to the clinic so that it is as healthy as the other kittens. Do you agree?" Joaquin offered, hoping that Christina would understand that he only wanted to help. Christina looked at Joaquin, feeling extremely relieved to hear those words. "I just want them to be healthy and I don't want to lose anyone else," she said, starting to cry again, as the pain of her recent losses became unbearable. Joaquin felt his heart sink at the sight of the little girl's pain and decided that now was not the time to talk about the dead kitten. As he gently lifted Christina and the cat into his arms, he pondered the best way to calm her. "I'll take you to the clinic. There you can meet the other kittens and we can take care of this one together," he said, trying to keep his voice calm. Joaquin knew that Christina's presence in the clinic would not only help the kittens, but also help her find some peace of mind. He sent a text to Sonia, telling her that he had found Christina and would take her to the clinic. When they arrived, Joaquin opened the car door and led Christina to a comfortable chair. "I'll bring you a glass of water so you can calm down," he said before quickly heading into the kitchen. When he returned, he handed the glass to Christina. She took it with trembling hands, murmured a thank you, and took small sips while trying to hold back her tears. Joaquin sat down next to her, watching her anxiously. "You're very brave, Christina. Taking care of those kittens shows that you have a big heart. Your mother was worried and wanted to see you so much," he said, hoping that these words would bring comfort to Christina. The girl looked at him, feeling both guilty and relieved. I didn't want to worry her, I just wanted to help the kittens, she explained, her eyes filled with sadness. Joaquin nodded, understanding her predicament. I know you wanted to do good and you did. Now we'll take care of this kitten together, it'll be fine. I promise you, he said, trying to convey confidence. Christina smiled weakly, still holding the kitten with love. Do you really promise? She asked, looking for confirmation. Joaquin smiled and nodded firmly. Yes, I promise, he replied, determined to keep his word. As Christina began to calm down, Joaquin thought about the text he had sent Sonia. He knew Christina's mother would love to see her, and said, "Your mother will be here soon. Shall we wait here?" He suggested, wanting Christina to feel safe. Christina nodded, holding the kitten closer. Okay, she said, feeling a little calmer. A few minutes later, Sonia arrived at the clinic, panting and her eyes red from crying. When she saw Christina, she rushed to hug her daughter tightly. I was so worried, she said, tears streaming down her face. Christina hugged her mother tightly, feeling safe in her arms. I'm sorry, Mom, I just wanted to help the kittens, she explained, her voice still shaking. Sonia stroked Christina's hair, trying to reassure her. I know, honey. We'll take care of them together now, she said, relieved to finally find her daughter. Sonia looked at Christina with a mixture of relief and concern. We need to go home and talk about what happened, she said. Trying to sound calm and comforting, still holding Christina, Christina shook her head and said firmly, I just need to go home when I see my cats. I want to know if they are okay. Her voice was firm and determined. Sonia and Joaquin looked at each other, realizing the importance of revealing the truth they needed to do. Joaquin knew it was his responsibility to explain the situation carefully. Okay, Christina. I'll take you to meet them, but first we need to talk, he said quietly, trying to prepare her for what was about to happen. They began walking together through the clinic's hallways, with Sonia holding Christina's hand tightly and Joaquin walking beside her, ready to help if needed. Each step seemed heavier, and Joaquin knew the news of the dead kitten would be a heartbreaking shock. When they reached the place where the cats were being cared for, Christina looked around, counting them one by one mentally. Suddenly, the girl stopped, her eyes filled with panic. Where is one? She asked, her voice shaking with worry. Joaquin took a deep breath, knowing there was no easy way to convey this truth. Christina, I need to tell you one thing. One of the cats was very weak and passed away. We did everything we could, but he was too sick, he explained, his voice filled with tears. Christina began to sob, holding the remaining kitten tightly in her arms. Her small hands shook as she tried to control her emotions. But tears kept streaming down her face. I can't believe it. He's dead. He left me. Just like my dad, she said with a gasp. I did everything I could to keep him, but in the end he still left me, she lamented, each word filled with pain, making Christina's small image even more fragile in the face of her never-ending loss. Christina's sobs echoed throughout the room. Joaquin placed his hand on the girl's shoulder, silently encouraging her, feeling her deep pain. Sonia, heartbroken to see her daughter suffer as well, knelt down beside Christina, feeling her pain as if it were her own. My child, don't be so sad. You still have other kittens, she said, trying to comfort Christina, but she felt helpless as each word seemed useless in the face of her deep sadness. Christina lifted her head and looked at her mother with teary eyes. Do you know why I take care of these cats? Do you really want to know why? The little girl began to speak, her voice shaking as tears continued to fall. Each word seemed to tear at her heart. Because I wanted to do what I couldn't do for you. I wanted to save them. So I brought them home to protect them and save them, but I failed, she said haltingly, each word carrying pain and guilt weighing heavily on my heart. Sonia felt a lump in her heart as she understood Christina's deep suffering. The little girl's words echoed in Sonia's mind, giving her a new understanding of her daughter's pain. My dear Christina, you have not failed. You did everything you could, taking care of those kittens with a big and kind heart, he said, trying to comfort her a little. Sometimes, even if you do everything right, things are still out of our control, he continued, hugging Christina tightly, feeling his daughter's tears soak into his own. Joaquin looked at the little girl in admiration, unable to imagine that such a young girl had to bear such a heavy burden. Christina, you are very brave. What you have done for these kittens is incredible. You are not alone in this, together we will take care of the remaining kittens and make sure they are healthy, he said, trying to reinforce his message of support and comfort. He knew that Christina's pain would not go away easily. But he wanted her to understand that everyone was by her side. Christina slowly calmed down as she held her mother close, the warmth of her mother's arms and her words beginning to break through the shell of pain she felt. I just want them to be healthy, she whispered, tears still falling. Sonia stroked her daughter's hair and a wave of love and protection washed over her. You don't have to do this alone. I'll always be here for you, my love, she said, trying to convey all her strength and support to you. Sonia knows the healing journey will be long, but she is determined to be by Christina's side every step of the way. Her unconditional love filled every moment as Christina slowly calmed down. Joaquin looked at Christina, aware of the importance of creating an environment where she felt she could still make a difference. Christina, we will make sure that all the kittens get the care they need. You can always come to the clinic whenever you want to check on them, she offered, hopefully bringing her some comfort. Christina nodded, feeling a little calmer knowing that she could continue to care for the cats, albeit from a distance. A small spark of hope flickered in her eyes amid the darkness. Sonia looked at Joaquin with tears in her eyes, grateful. She knew she couldn't have gotten through this without his support. Joaquin smiled, his voice filled with emotion as he nodded. Feeling honored to be able to help. I'm here to help, Sonia. We'll make sure Christina and the kittens are okay, he replied, determined to do everything he can to support the family during this difficult time. He feels responsible for ensuring Christina's happiness and that of the cats she loves. Joaquin then looked at the kitten in Christina's arms and said softly, Can you hold this kitten now? I'll take him inside and make sure he gets all the care he needs. Christina looked at the kitten one last time, feeling sadness and relief at the same time. She slowly handed the little animal over to Joaquin, trusting that he would do the best for him. Please take good care of him, she said. Her voice breaking, Joaquin nodded, carefully hugging the kitten. I promise to take care of him with all my love, he assured before heading back into the clinic. Sonia and Christina say goodbye to Joaquin, thanking him again for all the support he has given them. As they left the clinic, Sonia hugged Christina tightly, feeling a deep sense of relief. Let's go home, sweetheart. We have a lot to talk about and plan for the future, she said with love and determination in her voice. Christina nodded, feeling a little more relieved as they began to walk home, knowing that difficulties still lay ahead. When Joaquin examines the animals at the clinic, he carefully looks for signs of illness and checks their nutritional levels. During his work, he noticed something special about some of the kittens. They had collars or markings that indicated they were not stray cats but lost pets. These cats belonged to someone, Joaquin thought, surprised and hopeful. He picked up one of the collars and read the names and phone numbers engraved on it, knowing that he had to act quickly to reunite these animals with their families. The next day, Sonia and Christina returned to the clinic, ready to help care for the animals. Joaquin gathered them together to explain his discovery. I found out that some of the cats were actually lost pets from families who were desperately looking for them," he said, watching both of their reactions. Sonia was speechless, and Christina felt a surge of excitement. "We need to find those families again," Sonia said, feeling a new mission growing inside her. Christina nodded vigorously, her eyes shining with determination. "She knows that this can bring joy to many people." "Mom, we can start now. We can make posters and post them on social media," she suggested, her mind full of ideas. Sonia smiled and hugged her daughter. "Yes, honey. Do everything you can to help," she replied, feeling proud of Christina's determination. They know they are about to embark on an exciting and challenging journey, but their energy is full as they begin, together. Sonia and Joaquin began planning the operation. They took pictures of the animals and prepared posters to distribute throughout the city. Meanwhile, Joaquin made the first calls to the phone numbers on the caller. "We found your cat. He is safe and well cared for at our clinic," he said, feeling joy and relief from the other end of the line. Each call brought a new wave of emotions, knowing that he was making a difference. For her part, Christina was busy handing out posters and posting news on social media. The response was immediate and heartwarming. More and more families are coming to the clinic to get their pets back. "My God, I thought I would never see him again," exclaimed one woman as she hugged her cat tightly, tears running down her cheeks. Christina looked at that scene, her heart filled with warmth. "We are doing something amazing, Mom," she said with a bright smile on her face. Sonia nodded, feeling extremely proud of her daughter. Each successful reunion has strengthened the bond between them and the community. The campaign quickly attracted the attention of local media. "Christina, how does it feel to help reunite these animals with their families?" asked a journalist, holding the microphone close to the girl. Christina smiled shyly, but her eyes sparkled with joy. "I feel very happy. I know we are doing the right thing," she replied, feeling like a little heroine. The journalists recorded every moment, turning the campaign into a shocking local event. The impact of their actions began to reverberate throughout the city. With increasing attention, Sonia and Christina decided to expand the campaign to help more street animals. "We need to do more," thought Sonia, feeling the urgency of the new goal. With Joaquin's help, they began organizing adoption events and raising funds for the shelter. "We're going to make sure every animal finds a loving home," Sonia said, determined. Inspired by her dedication, the community quickly rallied around the cause, and donations began pouring in. Each adoption event was a success, with many animals finding new families, and moments of celebration and hope filled the air. Christina walked among the attendees, introducing the kittens and telling them her stories. "This little girl is so playful, she loves to run and play with paper balls," she said, watching the children's faces light up with joy. Sonia watched her daughter's excitement at connecting with both people and animals, and her heart swelled with pride. "You're doing a great job, Christina," she thought, knowing that her daughter was destined for great things. With each successful event, Christina's reputation as an animal advocate grew. She became a symbol of hope and compassion in the community. "We're going to keep helping, we're not going to stop," she told her mother and Joaquin, determined to keep the campaign going. Sonia saw Christina happy and dedicated, and her heart was filled with emotion. "I'm so proud of you," she thought, knowing that all the hard work and dedication had paid off. Together, they were making a difference and bringing a better future to animals and the families who had been reunited with their pets. Christina became especially attached to an elderly cat that no one wanted to adopt. She spent hours caring for him, feeding him, and talking to him as if he were an old friend. "That's right, old man," she said, stroking the purring cat. Christina felt a special connection to the cat, as if it understood her pain and offered quiet comfort. Maybe he needs a forever home too, she thought. Sonia watched Christina's feelings for the old cat deepen, a mixture of concern and tenderness. She knew her daughter was projecting her feelings onto the animal, but she also saw how the cat helped Christina heal. "Christina, you spend a lot of time with that cat," she remarked, trying to understand her daughter's feelings. Christina looked at her mother, her eyes shining with joy and sadness. "He reminds me of my grandfather. I think he needed someone to love him too," she replied, her voice full of emotion. Sonia felt her heart clench at the depth of her daughter's feelings. Joaquin, always attentive to detail, noticed a special connection between Christina and the old cat. He decided to investigate the cat's origins further and discovered that it had belonged to an elderly man who had recently passed away without anyone else by his side. "Christina, I have something to tell you about your furry friend," Joaquin said, calling the girl to a quiet corner of the clinic. Christina looked at him curiously, ready to listen. "This cat belonged to an old man who had recently passed away. He had no one else," Joaquin explained, watching the girl's reaction. Christina felt sad as she listened to the cat's story. "So he lost someone too," she whispered, stroking the cat with even more affection. She felt a greater responsibility to care for it. "Joaquin, I want to adopt this cat. I want to give it a home and all the love it deserves," Christina said, her voice firm and determined. Joaquin smiled, feeling a great admiration for Christina. "I'm sure he'll be very happy with you," he replied, touched by her decision. Hearing Christina's decision, Sonia felt both proud and worried. "Are you sure you're ready for this responsibility, dear?" she asked, wanting to make sure her daughter was mentally prepared to care for the old cat. Christina looked at her mother with determination. "Yes, Mom. I feel like it needs me, just as I need it. We'll take care of each other," she said, feeling a new strength growing inside her. Sonia nodded, convinced by her daughter's determination. "Then he will be our new family member," she said with a gentle smile. The relationship between Christina, Sonia, and the new cat developed quickly. Each day brought new moments of joy and discovery. "He is very affectionate," Christina said as the cat snuggled into her lap. Sonia watched these interactions with gratitude. "I am so glad he has found a home with us," she thought, realizing that the cat had helped Christina heal, and that his presence had brought a new layer of happiness to their lives, filling their days with love and tenderness. Joaquin continued to accompany the family, offering support and guidance to Christina. "How is our old man?" he asked, upon seeing her again. Christina smiled and responded enthusiastically. "He's adjusting very well. I think he likes it here," she said, feeling proud of her responsibility. Joaquin knew that Christina's decision to adopt the cat had been a blessing for everyone. The cat's presence had brought a new light to Christina and Sonia's home. Laughter echoed through the walls again, and the air was filled with love. "He's really brought joy to our lives," Sonia thought, watching Christina play with the cat. Every day seemed brighter and more hopeful. Sonia felt that they were finally starting to move past the pain of their loss and find a new path. "I'm so grateful to have found this cat," she thought, filled with relief. Christina felt it too. When she saw an animal reunited with its owner, she smiled and said, "We're doing the right thing," feeling a deep joy in her heart knowing that her actions were making a difference. Now, the old cat was part of their family. The cat seemed to sense Christina's happiness and snuggled closer to her. "Let's keep helping Mommy, there are so many animals that need us," Sonia said, her voice filled with determination and love. Christina nodded, feeling a deep sense of pride for what they had accomplished together. "Mommy is so proud of you," Sonia thought to herself. Christina decided that she wanted to create a shelter for street animals. The idea became a huge passion, so much so that every spare moment she had was spent planning and dreaming about the new space. This will be a place for everyone, where animals will find love and safety, Christina thought, feeling a wave of hope and purpose wash over her. With the unconditional support of Joaquin, who shared her passion for animals, this dream began to take shape. "Let's do this together, Christina. I'm sure we can make your dream come true," Joaquin said enthusiastically. He was determined to make her vision a reality, and without hesitation, they began gathering the resources needed to build the shelter. They organized fundraising events and crowd-funded events, each donation a step closer to their goal. "The community has been inspired by our work," Christina thought, as she watched the donations pile up. Sonia saw her daughter's determination and felt incredibly excited and grateful. "Every act of kindness brings new challenges, but also new victories," she thought. Joaquin, overseeing the work, suggested, "We'll need more volunteers to speed things up." Christina, ever optimistic, agrees, "I agree. I am sure that we can trust the community, they believe in our dream as much as we believe in it." She feels more confident than ever. Joaquin's words have motivated her to keep going, even when things get tough. As the shelter began to take shape, Christina and Joaquin lovingly planned every detail. "We want this to be a home, not just a shelter," Christina says as they discuss the design of the animal habitat. "We need to make sure they feel safe and loved here," Joaquin agrees, feeling deeply connected to Christina's vision. Every decision was made with the animals' well-being in mind, and that is reflected in every corner of the shelter. The opening of the shelter was an exciting event, with the community gathering to celebrate Christina and Joaquin's success. "Today we open the door to a better future for many animals," Christina said, her voice full of emotion during the opening ceremony, which was met with enthusiastic applause. She felt the weight of responsibility, but also a great sense of satisfaction. "This is just the beginning," she thought, looking at the happy faces around her. When the long day ended, Sonia, Christina, and Joaquin sat together in the shelter, reflecting on all they had accomplished. "We have accomplished so much in such a short time," Sonia said, looking at her daughter with pride and love. "Yes, Mom," Christina replied, feeling overwhelmed with joy. "This new shelter is not only a shelter for animals, but also a symbol of love, compassion, and unity of the entire community." Sonia looked at her daughter and Joaquin with gratitude, realizing that they had accomplished so much but still had much to do. Joaquin, inspired by their progress, replied, "I feel honored to be a part of this." Christina stroked the elderly cat, now part of the family, smiled, and said, "I'm so glad we started this together. I can't wait to see what the future holds." Christina's words summed up the spirit of hope and determination that guided everyone at the shelter. The shelter quickly became a safe haven for many animals in need. Each new rescue was a story of hope and recovery. "Here, they get a second chance," Christina said as she took in another abandoned animal. Joaquin was always by her side, watching with pride and admiration. "Christina, you turned your pain into something beautiful," he mused, moved by the young girl's strength and compassion. Touched by Joaquin's words, Christina felt even more motivated to continue her work. She reflected on her journey, from losing her father to creating the shelter. "You turned your sadness into something positive," she thought, feeling a mixture of nostalgia and pride. Christina knew that the shelter was a tribute to the legacy of love and care her father had taught her. "He would be proud of me," she murmured, feeling deeply connected to him. The pain of loss was still there, but now, she was filled with a sense of purpose and mission. Christina's dedication and Joaquin's support were crucial in making the dream of the shelter a reality. "I couldn't do this without you," Christina said to Joaquin as they walked through the vibrant shelter. "We're in this together, Christina. This is a team effort, Joaquin smiled back, knowing that Christina's love and determination were the pillars of their success. Every animal rescued and every life touched was a testament to the positive impact they had made together. The shelter was not just a place for animals, but a symbol of hope for the community. This represents what we can achieve when we work together for a greater good, Christina thought as she watched the families come to visit and adopt the animals. Each adoption was a celebration, another step toward the kinder world they were creating. Sonia looked into the eyes of the adopters and the animals, her heart filled with immense pride for her daughter. Christina's story has become an inspiring example of how pain and loss can be transformed into love and compassion for animals. She has turned her grief into a mission to do good, creating a legacy of caring for and protecting street animals. Every challenge overcome is proof that love can overcome pain. Christina reflects, feeling at peace as each animal they rescue and care for reminds her of the importance of love and compassion. "I am so grateful to be a part of this," she says with emotion. Christina's dedication and Joaquin's support have proven that, together, they can make dreams come true. We are just getting started, Christina thinks, her heart filled with hope and gratitude. If you enjoyed this story, I invite you to like and subscribe. This helps me continue to share great stories every day. Don't miss the next exciting story that's coming to your screen. I really appreciate your support. See you soon.